Emma.
Hi, Jason.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good.
Excellent. Where are you today?
I'm actually at home.
Ah.
I'm at home at the moment, yeah.
That's no good, you know. You should be out there working. Well, you are working. This is work. But congratulations on the new album.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Is it good to be back?
It is. It's fantastic to be back. It feels like quite a while now, because in the UK the album came out, or the beginning of the year.
Yes.
You know, it's been kind of gradual, but it's been amazing, really amazing. The critics have been fantastic, which I can't ask for much more. And,
no, true, not in the UK at any rate.
Exactly. Exactly. So I feel very happy.
Because I think this album has definitely allowed yourself to be, or allowed you to establish yourself, I think, truly as Emma Bunton, the artist, away from any legacy or history that you had before.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's come obviously with people allowing me to grow, but also just for me as a person, I kind of, I really became more confident in the studio, and I kind of found my niche in music. I knew exactly how I wanted this album to sound. So, I was really pleased with the way it went.
I mean, I'm sure that the term's been used more than 100 times, and I don't sort of mean it in the loose sense, but you've grown up in the sense that you are, as you say, you found your niche, you found where you fit, and it all fits within your own identity.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, I've never claimed to be, a soul diva or an R&B. I've always stuck to, what I believe in and what I feel comfortable with. And I think that's why, I would say, my fans have been so supportive. And I would say because they can see that I'm doing something that's very true to myself.
Yeah, it has. It's honest, isn't it?
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
And was it important that you did anything specific on this album? Because the last album did particularly well for you. I think even more so than in some cases many of your your counterparts, I suppose.
I think it was the first album was very much. I feel very protective of it. It was in some ways very, and I was still very naive to it all in a way that I was still learning so much.
Yes.
And kind of finding which music I wanted to do. So I was trying all different styles on that album, which I feel very precious. It's kind of my little baby.
Yes.
The second one, as I said, I just kind of found exactly where I wanted to go, and again, I think I've just been very honest, and I've always written the lyrics, which I found is very important. Just for my fans, I want them to identify with what I'm talking about, and I just wanted to be honest and for people to get to know me a bit more, really. Yeah,
and I think that, as you say, that comes to in the lyrics because that is you. It doesn't get more personal than that.
Exactly.
And again, I think that's something that is rare. Even some of the biggest names in music today are not responsible for writing a lot of their own songs. And I'm not sure people actually realize how big a deal that is, because it's a big thing to do.
Yeah, it is, and it's, kind of going into it's always been very nerve-wracking still, because you're kind of giving yourself, in this album. But
yes.
It feels like a natural thing to do. I feel very comfortable once I'm, in there writing. And it's so true. You can kind of tell the people that don't write their own songs, because you can kind of see it in their eyes.
Yes.
That's something to me that is so important. When I'm doing a video or when I'm on the stage, I want my fans to see that, the song that I'm thinking means something to me as well.
And also I'm sure from the reward point of view, with you, having people sing back your words, to have an album sell, to have a single work, and I think a lot of the time you suffer from so many stereotypes along the way, because A, you're good looking, so from that point of view you could get shot down. B, there's so much that you're not supposed to do according to the rule book, and yet you do all of it. So in some ways it's very hard, I think, for a lot of people to certainly your critics to place you, because they've been, and they will, bless them, try and sort of find fault in what you do. But I think even from the first album, which, as you say, was perhaps a little more schizophrenic than this one.
Yes.
Is, but it was still anchored in honesty and real talent, which I think and when I look back on it, because before the interview I was sort of trying to get a sense of it, and it was almost as if that because they couldn't find fault, they almost sort of they sort of walked away and went, well, okay, fine, we'll leave it there, which I think is great.
So much, but it's so true. And I think also when people want to judge you so much, it's quite weird that people out there are judging everything you do.
Yes.
Again, as I said, this is very different. People will also say how can you compare with it, when you were the Spice Girls, and you just, you can't. Because also, I'm at a different stage in my life, and as a person, that this is something I'm doing for me and my fans, and it's a completely different thing. Completely different. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so, obviously, just growing as a person and being more confident with things, it just feels. The whole album feels stronger, really, for me.
And as I say, from album 1 to album 2, we saw a radical shift. Have you got, as I say, with you going back into the studio now, are we likely to see another incantation of Emma Bunton, or we? Or is it quite?
As a young woman and listening to my mother, we changed quite a lot.
Yes. But
I think so. I think maybe another kind of just from the last album, growing and becoming. So I've been learning so much more. I've been, just growing up and having fun and going out and partying, and just kind of the last time I went to Brazil, I kind of picked up loads of kind of albums and went into the bars and had some, did some dancing, So I think there'll be a lot more kind of influences, music, as just places that I've travelled. So I think that will be quite interesting.
And for you, I mean, what would be the ultimate? I mean, this is your second album. Obviously, you will do more, and it'll afford you to do more. But as far as your personal sort of growth, what would you like to see? What would be the day that you would say, okay, I've achieved all that I set out to, and I can pretty much do anything else now, and it's okay, because the real big stuff I've achieved?
I think once, for me, I would love to tour with this album, or at least, just come out, travel to more countries with this album and the next album, and kind of tour with that. I think once, for me, just being able to travel with the album for people to hear it, that for me is just such a plus. And I think I've always said to myself, once I've kind of got to the point where I feel that I've satisfied my writing ability and performed to as many countries as I can as a solo artist, then, I think I'll be getting to a point where, I'd love to kind of buy a house and start to think about my own family and things like that. And I'd love to write for other people as well. That's something, I'm not sure if I'm going to be one of these people that's going to be performing when I'm, 50. I'd love to kind of write for other people and maybe work more behind the scenes.
And people that you'd like to work with, anyone in particular that even perhaps would have approached you and said, well, come on, let's do a track, or, let's,
I've been very lucky, there's been some amazing, I've already I've worked with Rod Stewart,
yes.
I've worked with Luther Vandross. There's been people that I've worked with already.
Yes.
Now I've only just started to think whether I'd like to work with other people, because at first, obviously, with the first and this album,
yes.
I kind of show myself in some ways. But I think, my dream would be to kind of do something with Stevie Wonder, or, just someone like that. I'm a huge fan of him. I've grown up with him, so that would be my dream person to work with. Definitely.
And if you had to sort of look at yourself and say, okay, well, what would you attribute your success as Emma Bunton to? As far as if you could put it down to any one thing, what do you think it is that's sort of given you or gotten you to the place that you have now?
I think being myself, being honest, obviously having the best time in the ever with the Spice Girls, and learning so much from them. And I'd liked it, but I don't think I would have been obviously or had this opportunity to be a solo artist and kind of know as much. And I know a lot about the industry now. If it wasn't for being with the Spice Girls, and I had the best time, and we'd learned so much of each other. So I do thank that so much. It has given me this opportunity.
And I mean, I think it's as you say, it's something that you could either choose to have dismissed and said that was a time in your life, but you've never done that. You've never been apologetic for anything that you've done, and I think that too is also part of your success, is that you embrace all of it.
Absolutely, and I haven't. I'm sure some of the girls have been quite negative about it, but for me, there's absolutely no way I would ever take anything away from it. It was the most amazing thing, and again, I met so many people. We did so many things that I learned, from films to TV. I just learned so much from it. I would never take anything away from that, and I know that I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that.
And as you said, this is one step of many. I mean, that was the first step, which gave you the foundation that you have today.
Exactly, and I'm dying to do, maybe film or so that's just my next thing. And I've been lucky again enough, back in the Spice Girls, we did a film, so I met lots of people and directors, and so that's been fab, and I'm really looking forward to that part as well.
Well, I think your biggest challenge is choosing what to do next, not if there's going to be anything to do, isn't it?
I think it would be, I'd like to do something that I think people will be quite shocked and say, is that Emma Bunton? So I've just, I've been very lucky. I have had scripts sent to me and stuff like that, but I think, it has to be the right thing.
But it's a great place to be when you get to choose, eh?
It is, of course, fantastic.
Well, Emma, thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day.
So much. I mean, I've had lots of interviews, but thank you very much. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you, as I said, and all the best. Hopefully we can get you back down to South Africa, because it's been a while,
Yeah, try and make sure. It's one of my favourite places. Me and my mum spent a few holidays, so...
We'll try and work it in the summer, yes.
Yes, please.
Great, well, thanks again for your time.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.